Wow. Một cục của tôi điều
Now, truthfully, through the years, people as a whole have learned a lot about dolphins. Books and books and books and books filled with stuff about dolphins. But interestingly enough, this particular species, the Pacific white-sided dolphin, is actually still shrouded in mystery. And it's with the help of Hannah, Helen, and Spinnaker here that researchers actually have the opportunity to study this species and try and find out more about them, which is a really unique opportunity because, in fact, this species of dolphin is very rare to find in facilities. You can tell them apart from other types of dolphins you've probably seen.
Wow.
Torpedo-shaped body, not to mention the black, gray, and white stripes that run down their sides. But something else that can help you identify them is what they do out of the water, because they're considered to be one of the most acrobatic species of dolphins, and there is over 40 different types of dolphins out there in the ocean.
Wow.
And I think probably start to agree on that now, if not. Now, something else that will help you identify this type of dolphin, though, is the ocean you're in. Because as their name suggests, Pacific white-sided dolphins found in what ocean?
Pacific.
Exactly. Typically from northern Mexico all the way up to Alaska, and all the way across on the coast of Japan as well. Now, is there anyone in our audience who has ever seen a Pacific white-sided dolphin before? Out of curiosity. 5 of you. Yeah, that doesn't really surprise me too much because, again, they're not often found in aquariums, and they weren't usually able to be spotted by most people in our ocean either. But every summer, we see more and more of them right here in the state of Georgia in Vancouver. In fact, you even see them off of BC ferries heading to Manila. So if you're from BC or you're sticking around for a little while, I would recommend taking a ferry. You get reports from them all the time. But no matter where these dolphins are found, they do face many dangers. And in fact, Helen, Hannah, and Spinnaker have first-hand experience with some of the threats out there facing dolphins. Anna, as someone who works so closely with them, can you share their stories of survival with us?
Sure I can. All three of our dolphins are what we refer to as rescue and rehabilitated animals. They were actually found in neighboring fishing nets off the coast of Japan and floated around the Indian Pacific, where they were deemed non-releasable. Luckily, we've been able to provide them with a permanent home here at the Wild Coast. Working with people like Helen and Hannah, they were in the aquarium since 2005. During this time, we've been able to really maintain a very strong relationship with them in order to provide them with the best possible care through training and regular checkups. Everything that we learn from their behavior is used to help veterinarians and researchers to get a better understanding about these mysterious animals. In fact, every day that we spend with the Spinnaker and Hannah reveals more information about their species, as well as their individual personalities, that, believe it or not, are just as different as you and me. Isn't that right, guys? Well, Spinnaker and Hannah remind us every day that fishing nets can pose serious threats to dolphins all over the world.
Thank you very much, Anna. So basically, what our scientists are trying to do is understand the dangers facing dolphins and also find ways to protect them from those dangers out in the ocean. But in order to do that, we have to review, okay, what do we actually know about Pacific white-sided dolphins? Well, truthfully, not a whole lot, but we know one thing. They're usually with other Pacific white-sided dolphins. However, the number you see in a group can really change. Sometimes it's 2 or 3, and sometimes it's over 2,000 at a time, with really no heads or tails reasons why or when. But they can definitely travel at some very impressive speeds when they're together. Typically, and for those of you who are down in the underwater doing our reading, this displayed very well by Spinnaker right now. So make it around. They can travel over 35 kilometers an hour,
Wow.
which is technically faster than you are allowed to drive a car here at Stanley Park. So definitely very impressive and helpful too. It allows them to get away from their predators and also catch their prey, which is what? What do dolphins eat? Fish. Exactly.
Fish.
But imagine for a second what life would be like if you were a dolphin like Helen, Hannah, and Spinnaker, and you were racing around our Strait of Georgia, our backyard ocean, trying to find fish. Now, no question, there's a lot of fish out there, but if you think about it, the deeper you go in the water, and depending what time of day it is, the darker it's going to get. Thankfully, though, as a dolphin, you actually have the ability to penetrate that darkness using sound. It's an animal form of sonar called echolocation. So listen to this for just a second. And then I want you to try and imitate it. See if anyone can actually make this sound. Okay, cover you a little nervous, that's okay. If you were dolphins, this is what your sounds would sound like. It's not your typical dolphin noises, but those are actually echolocation clicks produced by Pacific white-sided dolphins and picked up on a hydrophone or an underwater microphone. And basically, what happens when they make those sounds, they send it out into the ocean, and as the sound hits an object, it bounces back to them so they can form mental pictures of their underwater world. Now, we know by studying it that echolocation is incredibly accurate. So we do wonder why are dolphins like Spinnaker here getting entangled in nets every day? 800 whales, dolphins, and porpoises get stuck in nets and die every day. Why is it happening? And that's something that Spinnaker here is helping us answer. So are Hannah and Helen, and they have been for over 2 years. We've taken that time to train them to wear gelatin eye cups, like this weird looking thing that I have in my hand, and that Phoebe is showing pushed on Spinnaker's body. Basically, this works like a suction cup that we place over the dolphin's eye. But we didn't start by covering our eyes right away. To maintain a really strong bond of trust with these dolphins, we started by just touching it to different parts of their body, until gradually we progressed to where we're at now. We can ask our dolphins to voluntarily cover both of their eyes with these eye cups, so we can study the way they navigate through the water using sound instead of their vision. And hopefully, through this research, we're going to better understand how dolphins like Spinnaker, Hannah, and Helen got entangled in fishing nets in the first place, and what we can do to try and protect dolphins from that fate in the ocean now. In fact, we're incredibly lucky to work so closely with these dolphins because they really do provide us with an opportunity to do research that just isn't possible with dolphins out in the ocean. Now, of course, this research also shows that they are highly energetic and acrobatic animals, naturally.
Wow.
And you can definitely see that from their displays both above and below the water. And we know they get all of the energy they need for these types of behaviors from the food that they're eating, from the food that they can use echolocation, that sound, to find. So there's no question left in scientists' minds for sure, sound is a really important sense for dolphins. But they don't only use sound to find food, they also use it to socialize. Because Pacific white-sided dolphins are highly social animals. They're often seen playing around with each other. In fact, most recently they were seen between Campbell River and Powell River right here in British Columbia, making all kinds of noise. And if you listen very carefully, you might hear what that would sound like. Now, of course, that's not the only type of sound they can make either. They do have those echolocation clicks. Plus, researchers think they communicate in even other ways. Sometimes using touch, they're very tactile, and sometimes using leaps. Because different forms of leaps can make different forms of noise. This is called a breach, and it's certainly very loud when they land on the water, and researchers think that might actually act as a signal for surrounding dolphins. Or they could use just one body part. Instead of your whole body coming under the water and then landing, why not just use your tail? Because certainly they can flap their flukes around the water here, and that might be some sort of dolphin Morse code that we don't understand yet. Or maybe it's just a way to stun prey. Who really knows? We're trying to figure it out though. Of course, when you study dolphins' sound, you also have to look at what else makes noise on the water. And while there are lots of other noisy animals out there, can you think of something man-made that we put on the water that's pretty noisy? Oh, absolutely. And in fact, dolphins are often seen alongside or in close proximity to boats, maybe even bow riding like the man here off the front of a large fishing vessel. So exactly what role noise pollution from those boats plays in the lives of dolphins and the lives of their prey is another mystery that our researchers are working to solve. But like most great mysteries out there, the more questions we answer about our beautiful white-sided dolphins, the more questions we end up with too. And the biggest question that we are dedicated to answering is how can we help them?
Wow.
Certainly, what we've seen from Spinnaker, Hannah, and Helen is how dangerous those nets can be to dolphins out in the ocean. We know that firsthand from them, and we see it every day. But what we need to remember is that those nets aren't targeting dolphins. They're out there to try and catch fish. So in fact, there is something every single one of you here can do to try and protect dolphins like Spinnaker, Hannah, and Helen by eating fish, but eating it sustainably. Now what do I mean by sustainable? This is actually a pretty weird concept, but who here likes to eat seafood? Can you raise your hand? Yeah, I thought I would see a lot of hands. I do too, so do the dolphins, right? And what we want to encourage you to do is keep eating seafood, but ask questions about where it comes from. We tried to make eating sustainable seafood as easy as possible. In fact, in Canada, we started a program called Ocean Wise. It's represented by this symbol here that you can see along the habitat. This green sign, Ocean Wise, fish and a dinner plate. Basically, if you see that symbol next to a menu item anywhere across Canada or at a market like IGA where you buy your seafood, it tells you two things. One, it was caught from a large enough population that if you took that last crowd or that last fish out, there's still some left for dolphins to eat and for our grandkids to eat too. And two, it comes from the type of fishing methods that don't entangle dolphins like Spinnaker, Hannah, and Helen. So all you have to do is look for that symbol, and back to make life even easier for you. We created an Ocean Wise app for your iPhone to make it easy to find delicious seafood close to your current location, however those iPhones work, and eat seafood to help Pacific white-footed dolphins like these breed here. And although they are still shrouded in mystery, hopefully with the help of Spinnaker, Hannah, and Helen, not to mention our trainers, our researchers, and every single one of you as well, we can all work together to try and solve their mysteries and keep them thriving on our coast for many years to come. So on behalf of myself, our trainers, and of course, Spinnaker, Hannah, and Helen, thank you very much for joining us here at the Vancouver Aquarium. Once again, my name is Nicole, and if you have any questions about the dolphins or the research that are involved in or Ocean Wise or really anything else, please feel free to come right over here to the side and ask. I will do my very best to answer those questions for you. Also, if you would like to learn a little bit more about some of the other animals we have at the aquarium, we do have a couple of things coming up. At 6 o'clock, we have a bird meet and greet.